This podcast is brought to you in part by PNP Games, your online source for everything video games. Visit their website at pnpgames.com or at one of their 3 retail locations in Winnipeg, Manitoba.
Let's get started.
All right, everybody, and welcome to the Bonus Stage podcast. Is this really episode 50?
Yeah, man. Nearly a year's worth of shows.
Oh, my God. I wrote 49 just now because that sounded more accurate, but then I look at the show notes. It's episode 50.
Yep.
What the heck? That is ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Technically, we should have been around maybe 65 or so because we did miss half a dozen or a dozen shows during the course of the year. Mm-hmm. But yeah, 50 shows.
Are you sure it's 50?
I'm positive it's 50. We did 49 last week was the was last week's show.
48, wasn't it?
No, 48 was the one before that.
No, we did, but Beyond Two Souls was 47, where you reviewed Beyond Two Souls. 48 is the one we did last week, which was our year in review.
I was pretty sure that was 49.
Oh, how crazy is it that I am so confused that I don't even know which show is which.
Like, we've been keeping track, and all of a sudden it's weird. I'm pretty sure this is 50. Let me see.
48 is the one that I posted.
This is fantastic podcasting, by the way. Everybody's riveted.
This is 49, because we recorded 48 on the 18th. So this is 49. Why did I put 50 in the show notes? That makes absolutely no sense. Huh. Welcome to episode 49, everybody.
Is it 49? Now I'm screwed up.
No, it's got to be 49 because I have 2 48s in my show notes because you sent me that one, the bonus stage 48, which had your notes in it, and then I gave you the actual show notes. Wow, how professional of us to start the show this way.
We're on point. But you know what? We're gonna make up with it because this is a huge show. We've got a ton of good shit to talk about. And I'm excited.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty ridiculous. I agree. So let's get right into it and not take any more time. I just want to remind you guys about Extra Life. I am doing Extra Life this year. 25 hours of video game fun. You could hear my little my little thermometer is going up. I'm at $120 raised of my goal of $250. So doing pretty good. If you guys would like to sponsor me, the money goes directly to the Children's Hospital Foundation of Manitoba. I'm partnering with the Inside Infinity podcast team, and as a team, this one's going to go longer. A little bit longer. We raised $1,387 so far, of a goal of $4,000. So we're hoping we can we can get up there. I'm hoping that I can make $250. That's really got to stop. I wish you could turn that off.
It's kind of funny though. I like it.
I'm really hoping I can make $250. Any donation is accepted and appreciated, and as part of the deal that the support that we have from Disney, we're actually getting a pile of unique prizes that we're going to give away randomly to people that support us on our Extra Life campaign. So if you give $5 or $50, doesn't really matter, you're going to get entered to win one of 3 great prizes. The first one is a PS3 Disney Infinity starter set signed by every single person in the development team. So every single person that worked on the game, it's on the box. It looks really awesome. The next one is this huge sheet. It's like the size of a table of art, concept art. And you could see that it was basically they were sitting at a table and one person's working on one side, the other person's working on the other side. There's a whole bunch of doodles. There's stuff that's in the game. There's stuff that isn't in the game. There's little notes It's ridiculous, and that's signed by the concept artists that were working on that piece of paper. And then the third prize is a developer disc, and what it is it's basically a little round disc, just like any of the discs. If you've played Disney Infinity, the power discs that you put under your character, but this one is a character without the actual figure on top of it. And they came to us and said, we'll give you any character that's not out yet. Which one do you want? So we picked Wreck-It Ralph. So if you want to play with Wreck-It Ralph before any other person, you can win that one as well. And it's signed by the two lead artists, the creative artists for the character models. So we got some really crazy prizes. Autograph stuff is really rare in the gaming industry, really valuable, really hard to get, and will look awesome on anybody's wall. And to have a chance to win one of these prizes, one of these three prizes, all you have to do is make a donation. So I'll post a link to my Extra Life in the show notes. And if you support me, you're going to be entered into the hat. We'll pull winners in the show while we're doing the 25-hour show, and we'll be giving away those three prizes. It's going to be ridiculous. It's going to be a lot of fun. And if nothing else, you should come see an old man fall asleep at 3 a.m. playing video games, because I'm assuming that's what's going to happen. I'm just going to pass out, and I'll be snoring on camera for multiple hours. It'll be great, and I'm sure people will make lots of fun of me. But that's okay. I'm okay with that.
You certainly are setting the bar for entertainment for what people should expect.
Yeah, it's I don't want to lie to them, because that's what's happening. I am sure that's what's going to happen. But yeah, no, it's really, really good, really good cause, and I'm super excited to be doing this. So if you have time and a couple dollars, please do support us, and I'll post a link to it in the show notes. All right, man, let's get into this. Jeff, what have you been playing?
I've been playing a lot of games this week, a lot of games. And the first thing I've been playing is the thing that's taken up the most of my time this week is still GTA Online. I'm playing the shit out of this game, guys. Like, I've put in more time into GTA Online than I have on one character than I have the collective 3 characters in the story mode. So I'm probably about nearly 70 hours deep into GTA 5 at this point, and probably 35, maybe 40 hours worth are online. It's funny, like, I was going through my stats the other day, and it said, you've been playing for 1 day and 15 hours. And I'm like, what are you talking, 1 day and 15 hours? What the hell is that? Like, is that the amount of time that my character has spent in game world? And I'm like, that can't be right. There's no friggin' way I've spent, like, what is that, 39 hours in the game? Like, there's no way. And I'm like trying to find another, like, no, that's the amount of time I've spent in there. And I was like, oh my God, that's crazy. Like, I'm going to pick a bone with this game. This game has just frustrated the hell out of me for the last couple of weeks. Actually, just the last week. Last week, 7 days ago today, the previous, the most current title update came out, as we all know. Downloaded it. I was playing with Tom. We probably had like a 4-hour session going on, and I had about 155,000 in cash, and I was at level 21 or 22. Save the game, shut it off, do the show, go back and play with Tom again after the show's done. And I'm back at level 16, and I have $75,000. I'm like, that's not good. What's going on? This is not good. And I'm looking on Twitter, and like Rockstar support is just like flooded with what the hell happened to this? What happened to that? I'm losing my cars. I lost my character. I lost this. And they're like, yeah, like because of the new update, which has made the game playable for some, has now made the game that's already playable now unplayable for others. It's not saving some progress. We expect that you're going to get it back. So I'm like, okay, not a big deal. I can wait for it to catch up or whatever, because that's what they're saying. Like, it'll catch up. You'll get your whatever back soon. So I'm thinking, okay, well, I still want to play it, so I might as well just keep playing. So I get back to about 150,000 again. I'm up at now like level 23 or something. Tom and I played until like 4 o'clock in the morning after the show last Friday. Go on Sunday, gone. It's just gone. Level 16, 75,000. And I am just livid at this point, because now I've lost like $200,000 and like 10 levels. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, this is like 7 hours of progress, easy, gone
See,
to the ether.
what you don't realize is this is part of the game.
Yeah.
They committed a heist on your
Crime doesn't
in-game
pay.
bank account is
Yeah,
what they did. So
and on my experience as well too.
yeah,
Somehow.
they heisted your world experience as well.
Yeah, so I was following the Rockstar support page where they were updating and like every 20 minutes or so I'm refreshing it, like hoping there's an update, like what the hell's happening. I'm actually and I like it was bad for me. It's a hell of a lot worse for other people because now they've confirmed that the stuff that you did lose is gone. You're not getting it back ever. And there are people who lost cars, houses, their characters are gone. They lost like 20 or 30 levels. Like they have to start back at zero. Like that's a hell of a lot worse than it is for me. But like I'm still really pissed off about it. I mean, it's so maddening to play this game. And like when you're at level 16, all the missions are so shitty. It's go here, get the drugs, come back. Go there, pick up the car, come back. You haven't talked to Lester yet. You barely talked to Lamar. You haven't talked to Martin Madrazo. Like there's all these characters who give you really great missions, but they're like level 20 and above.
Right.
Now I've got to go back and do all these really crappy missions again just because the game effed up and forgot where I was. So I'm now back. I've got something like 190,000 or something like that, and saving up for an apartment or whatever in the game. And Steven says, or you can stop and play a good game. I really do like this game, but it is not good. It's not well made. It's buggy as hell. The missions, most of them are insanely boring. I mean, just the most uninspired, boring missions you could ever. In Grand Theft Auto, and actually in pretty much every Rockstar game, everyone knows there's usually, out of the missions they give you, there's usually like 5 to 10% where they're just horrendous missions. Go here, get this, come back. Go here, fight these guys, get something, come back. That's what like 40% of the missions at least now, and anyway in the game when I'm like this high of a level, that's what most of them are like. When you first started in GTA Online, it's like 90% of the missions are like that, and it's terrible. It's an absolute slog to get through, and that shit is really boring.
I'm looking forward to playing it now.
Yeah, well, what level are you? Like 8 or something like that,
I was
right?
like 10, 8, 7, whatever, not very far into the game, and then I decided to. How about I wait until there's no more online problems so I don't have to come on a podcast and complain about losing levels and experience and money? Maybe was the
what do you say?
There was a better choice I made, I think. Maybe.
I do know from the Rockstar support page that it's basically like 70-30 in favor of Xbox with these problems. So very few people are having problems on the PS3, and I have to assume that a lot of that is due to the fact that there are probably less people playing on the PS3. Yeah, it's bad. It's really bad, and for them to release a patch that was, again, this one was larger than the patch to actually play online, and have that patch completely mess up the entire system and make the game unplayable again, in my opinion, regardless of how free the game is inexcusable. The game made $1 billion in 72 hours.
You should go ask for your money back, Jeff.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that because the single player is still really great. And like,
I'm saying for the multiplayer, you should go ask for your money back.
Yeah, I should ask for him. Yeah. What percentage of the $68 is the multiplayer worth? Can I have my quarter back?
0, because it was free. It was a free add-on. So you should go ask. You should go ask for your money back.
And
they'll send you an email for here's your free refund for no dollars, and then you feel better about yourself.
Even if the game is free, it's still inexcusable, I think, at this point for it still to be this messed up. And for them to have made this much money and they can't fix it yet, I think is what are we 3.5 or 4 weeks into the launch of online.
Sure.
It's total crap. It's total crap.
It's not trivial to work on a system like this, though. It's not like they're just like going on coffee breaks and they have like 3 guys working on it. They have millions of people playing every day. Like the amount of work that it would take to even just keep the service running while working on fixes is unbelievable. So you gotta understand that.
I do understand that, but it still doesn't make it any easier for me to like. I've now shifted my kind of opinion to think that now is the time when it should be fixed. even if it's free, it should be fixed. You should have figured this out by now. A lot of this stuff is in it's just extremely frustrating, and more so because I have now lost, like, I've lost a bunch of progress, and a bunch of my time is now lost, and I've been playing it a lot too, and I really want to like it, and I really want to like be in this universe, but it's, and I know it's a stupid thing for me to like complain again. Complaining about a free game is probably the dumbest thing that we can do at this point. Like, it's a free to play game. You're not being forced, and the single player is insanely good. Probably one of the best games of the last decade.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
it's in that upper echelon of games, but it's still so frustrating to just sit there and lose so much progress. Anyway, now most of that stuff is fixed. And things seem to be a lot smoother.
Yeah, I don't know. For things like this, like, I'm really happy that a lot of people are playing and getting burnt and then won't play anymore, because they're probably the really hardcore jackasses that would come and just shoot you in the head and take your money. So if they go somewhere else, that's a great thing for me. But at the end of the day, I mean, I'm like the type of person that doesn't upgrade. Like, when iOS comes out, I don't upgrade on the first day. And then I sit on Twitter and I laugh at all the people that are complaining about how their phone is dead or bricked, or they can't download it. It can't activate. It's like, well, what do you think? You and a million other people are hitting it all at the exact same time. So yes, there's going to be problems. Wait till it settles down a little bit. And so I'm kind of really happy that I made the decision to wait with GTA Online. I got in before October 31st so I could get my cash, and then I'll wait until everything's fixed, and then I'll get on and play my 40, 50 hours or whatever it's going to be. Plus there's so many great games that came out in the last little while. I mean, it's not like I'm hurting for things to play.
Yeah, true. I mean, there is a ton of other stuff to play out there right now. But like, GTA is just like, it's hard to explain, because it's, like I've said this already just a few minutes ago. Online is not very good. Even now, when it's like, I'm doing missions where I'm taking helicopters up to the top of buildings, and I'm supposed to parachute out and shoot a bunch of guys and steal a briefcase and then parachute off. Like, all that stuff is really fun, but the design and the implementation is really, really poor. I mean, it seems like the difficulty levels are set so it's either way too easy or way too hard. And if you try to do missions by yourself, good luck. I mean, you are completely outclassed. It seems like in a lot of missions, enemies just continuously respawn and they never end, and then you're out of ammo and you're forced to go and steal the car and just run out blindly into traffic.
Right.
Like, all that stuff is really frustrating. And like, they're saying that a lot of this stuff, a lot of these bugs and a lot of these kind of issues are going to be fixed and patched. And there is going to be a title update, and we have a news story later on in the show that I'll talk about. There's going to be a title update coming very shortly that's going to address a lot of these issues and hopefully clear up most of the issues that people have had with the progress being lost. It's still a really fun game, but like, I've yelled more at GTA Online than I have at like Call of Duty collectively. Like, it's insanely frustrating, especially when you're right at the end of a mission, and for whatever reason, a car comes off the road and smashes you and kills you. And it's like, where did that come from?
It was launched from the car cannon that
it's
people
not
have
an enemy
now.
either. Like, it's just a regular ass Joe who just apparently came off the 405 freeway doing 100 and just took you out.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, GTA Online has been taking up a ton of my time, and I'm still going to dump a ton more hours into it. The other thing that it's been taking up a lot of my time is Pokemon. Which one am I playing? I'm playing Y? Yes, I am playing Y, I believe. Yes. A lot of fun. We're going to review it later on in the show. I've been playing it a lot this week, but I've been watching Carly play it more because she seems to be more into it than I am. And it's interesting to kind of get a different perspective on how someone plays the game. When I go to a new town, I will go to the Pokemon Center. I'll try to find the gym, and I'll try to find the clothing store. And if nothing of when those don't interest me, then I just move on. I never talk to anybody because it's all kind of boring, and to me anyway.
Right.
But yeah, it's really cool. Again, we're gonna talk about later on the show, do a review, and that'll be fun. Also, this week I got a review copy of NBA 2K14 from PNP, so I'm gonna be reviewing that next week. Had I don't know, about 3 or 4 hours of time with that. It's too early for me to really make any kind of call on whether or not I'm liking it or not. I'm liking it so far, which is good. there's a very, very bizarre mode I was talking about with Lloyd before the show. It's like this LeBron James mode, and it's just the weirdest friggin' thing I have ever experienced in gaming. And I'm gonna try to get some maybe some game footage of that so we can kind of play it on the show because it is just weird. And then the last thing I'm playing, actually, there's two more things. I'm playing some Hotline Miami on the Vita. I downloaded that a couple days ago. That's pretty cool. Doesn't really play as well on the Vita as I thought it would. I think it's certainly one of those games that it makes more sense keyboard and mouse. The twin sticks, I'm still kind of messing around with. I'm dying a lot, but I mean, apparently everyone dies a lot in that game. And then the last game I'm playing is The Silent One, which is an iOS game that I just kind of downloaded on a whim. It was on like some sort of weird like underrated games list on the App Store. It's free and it's really, really cool. It's got a great art style. You play a janitor who gets a promotion, and you kind of just tap on the screen left or right where you want to walk, and your character walks in that direction. You pick up all these little items, and you kind of solve puzzles. I'm very early into it, but the art style is amazing. The story is really interesting. The music is fantastic. It's one of those games like you're in for an experience when before you start up a game on iOS, it tells you to put your headphones in. Like, okay, these people want me to be playing a game. This isn't Angry Birds. This is a game. Have you played this, Lloyd?
No.
No? I think you'll like it. I think it's a really cool kind of story-driven game, and it's got kind of I want to say like a horror aspect to it, but only because it's very creepy and very dark. But it's very interesting, and I'm very excited to kind of dig in more and play that more this week. But The Silent One on iOS, it's free, so you should definitely go download it. I'm playing it on my iPhone 5, and really, really enjoying it. But yeah, that's all I'm playing this week. What about you?
I'm actually looking for Silent One right now. That's the game I'm playing, but I can't find it.
That's the game you're playing?
No, yeah, I'm playing the game of looking in the App Store for the game to download. And it's not showing up. Weird. I'll have to look for it later.
Maybe I'll send you like a whatever. Like here's the game.
Yeah. Weird. Okay. I've been playing a little bit. Last week I talked a little bit about Puppeteer, which is a game that I got from P&P for review. I didn't get very far in the game. I got about halfway through, and it just I lost all drive to play it. It's charming as hell. It looks good. The voiceover's good. You're playing you play basically a little puppet. And it's a stage show, and the world kind of spins in and out and drops down, and all these weird things happen. At its core, it's a platformer, and that's where it kind of fails. I mean, it's not fun. So I got about halfway through, and I really only got that far because my kids really enjoyed watching me play it and playing it a little bit as well. So it's from Japan Studio. It's a $40 game, so it's not very expensive. If you're looking for something similar to, say, a Little Big Planet, so really kind of cute and unique with some really good British voiceover, that's kind of what this one is. It just didn't do it for me for whatever reason. So I would not recommend picking it up.
Is it a full retail game?
No, it's $40.
Oh, okay.
You don't listen when I talk, man.
Oh, you were saying that? Sorry, I was looking for the game for you. By the way, I made a mistake with the name. It's not The Silent One. It's The Silent Age. That's why you couldn't find it.
Okay. I'll type that in. But yeah, it's $40. It's already on sale on PSN for $20 later this month. They've already announced the fact that it's going to be on sale. So I'm thinking that this one will probably be free on PSN Plus by January or February. So I don't know. I'm not a huge fan. I enjoyed the first little bit of it, but then it just got to be too much for me. So that's the Puppeteer.
Would it be worth downloading for free?
Yeah, I'd play it for free because my kids really liked it. I would download it just to have it so that they could play. But yeah, I don't think it's ever something that I would personally go and beat. It's just the platforming gets really frustrating after a while, and it's kind of like sort of old school where you have 3 heads. Every time you get hit, your head pops off and you can run around and catch it. But if you're jumping over pits and your head falls in the pit, it's gone. And once all your heads are done, you die and then you start at the start of the level again. So it's kind of retro, but the platforming's not that great, and it has this really cool scissor cutting mechanic, but it's almost like the controls are fighting you while you're doing it. Yeah, not something I'm going to play too much more of. I've been playing a lot of Pokemon, actually. Pokemon X. Trying to think how far I am in the game. Let me open it up. I'm pretty darn far. More than halfway through. Really liking it, which is rare because I'm not a huge Pokemon fan. But they've made enough changes in the game for me to really get a lot of play out of it. And I'm like 25 hours in or something. So probably most of the way through until you get to like the final battles. It's really good, and we'll be talking about that in a little bit.
Yeah.
There's one other game I was playing on my iPad. I can't remember the name of it. Just give me a second to find it, which is really weird and unique and might be something that you out there would want if you have an iPad. It's called Device 6. And the game, you have to play it with headphones because the game is basically... The game isn't the game. The game is everything else that's going on while you're doing it. So you're reading text, you're sliding stuff on the screen to make other text appear. So you're reading paragraphs. They tell you things. You can't really see it on the video because it's all blown out because of the lights. But text is going top to bottom, and then at the bottom, the text is upside down. So to continue on, I have to turn my iPad upside down and then start scrolling the other way to get into it. The game is narrated. There's sounds. It's puzzle driven. So there'll be a puzzle like in the first chapter. There's a puzzle where you have to figure out a math problem, and it gives you very vague clues. It's like find the number in the orange room, find the number on the plaque between the thing, and it's just like, okay. So you're scrolling through, you're looking at the pictures, you're reading the text, you're listening for audio clues. And it's just something that I've never experienced before. The fact that you're at any time you're turning your iPad a different direction to do something else. You're scrolling slowly through the page because it has kind of like a parallax scrolling thing where pieces of the picture kind of move in and out at different speeds. Really awesome so far. I think it was $4 on the iPad, and it's really good. I'm gonna try to beat that and review it on a TOG, Touch of Gaming, coming up really soon. Really unique kind of game, and I'm really kind of enjoying it. So check that one out as well if you're into iPad games. All right, man. Why don't you tell us what's new for new releases this week?
New this week, really, like this is a strange week because the kind of the release dates are really weird. Like
everything came out today.
Everything came out today. It was very strange.
Except for Lego. Lego Marvel came out on Tuesday, but then everything else came out today. It was bizarre.
And okay, so the first game is Warface, and that came out on Monday.
Yeah.
Warface is Crytek's free-to-play shooter. It's on the PC today, and you can go and play it and download it and have fun. It's not a Crysis game, but it's like made by the Crysis team on the Crytek engine. Looks really cool, but it's that free-to-play model. So in a first-person shooter, I'm always nervous about how long it takes just to get your kit so that you can compete with other people, right? Mm-hmm. But from what I understand, from what I've been reading, it's very well balanced, which is a really nice kind of change of pace. But there are also the premium weapons and upgrades and all that kind of stuff that you can buy. There is an Xbox 360 release slated for 2014, and I'm hearing February. But nobody seems to know for sure. I think they're shooting for February, but these things can get pushed back till spring or whatever. So free to play on the PC. I think it's going to be Xbox exclusive. I haven't heard anything about a PlayStation one, but maybe it'll just be Xbox exclusive for a little while. The other thing that was released this week was Lego Marvel Superheroes, and this is the console one for the Wii U, the PS3, the 360, and the PC. And then Lego Marvel Superheroes Universe in Peril, which is your handheld one for your 3DS, your DS, and the Vita. And then today, Deus Ex Human Revolution, the director's cut, was released for the PS3, 360, PC, Wii U, which is really cool for Wii owners who haven't played Human Revolution yet, and the Mac. I don't know what's different in this cut though.
They've added a bunch of different things. They've changed the boss battles. They've changed a lot of stuff. A lot of the DLC type things are included. Basically, this is the game that they were making for the Wii U. And then, well, the Wii U did what the Wii U did, which was not sell very well. So they decided to make it for everything else as well.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I have Human Revolution from PlayStation Plus for free, still on my PS3. I have not touched it at all.
It is a great game.
Tom keeps telling me to play it.
Yeah,
he
so
really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And then the big thing that came out this week was Batman Arkham Origins, which is available for the PS3, the 360, PC, and the Wii U, which is interesting. It's nice to see that even though it's cross-platform on everything, the Wii U is still getting that love, because there are some cross-platform games that are not coming to the Wii U, which is unfortunate.
Which would be most of them.
Yeah, and then of course the handheld version, which is Batman Arkham Origins Blackgate, which is available on the Vita and the 3DS. So some big games this week. It seems like games are now trying to do like a companion release where we'll have a big console game and then we'll try to make a little kind of standalone handheld one as well too. There's also an iOS Batman is available too.
Yeah,
but I haven't played.
It's a free to play. It's similar to Infinity Blade, so it's kind of like a swipe to fight game. But it has some pretty egregious free to play walls put in where you have a certain amount of stamina. When you finish the stamina, you can wait to play more, or you can spend a bunch of money to refill your stamina. And anytime I hit a free to play game that makes me wait to play their game more, it gets deleted pretty much instantly. Because if you don't respect me enough as a gamer to let me keep playing your game, I don't respect you as a game creator to play your game, and I will delete it.
Yeah. And it seems like they don't have a good enough idea of how to make a game free to play without getting you to stop it once in a while.
Yeah, that's the easiest one.
Yeah,
there was
it is kind of like a cop out, you know.
There's a local game made by Complex Games. It was the DuckTales first person shooter, or I guess third person shooter squad based, like Team Fortress 2 for iPad. It was like the weirdest game, and it had that thing in it. And the first thing I said is like, I'd love to play your game more, but if you are going to punish me for wanting to play your game by not allowing me to play your game, I'm just not going to play your game. And then it turns out that a future update took out most of that kind of stuff.
Oh, so, changing the world.
Yeah.
One podcast at a time.
I don't think I changed it. I think they just got, since it's a Disney release, they just got a huge pile of hate mail come in, so they had to change it. So yeah, I mean, anytime a game has that mechanic or that way to limit your gameplay, it's just like, nope, no thank you. Yeah. I don't want to wait to play a game. I'm a parent of 2 kids. I don't have very much time to play games. I have very set small windows, and if I can't play your game when I want during those windows, I just won't play it. I'll play something else.
Yeah, I really got into CSR Racing when it first came out. Like I was totally addicted to it. It still is a fantastic game. But
they just came out with the second release. It's CSR Racing Classics.
Oh, really? Cool.
Yep.
Oh man, I didn't even notice.
Your
I see. I'm still playing.
Really laggy, man.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's important. Is my audio okay?
Yeah, your audio's okay, so don't.
That's fine then. Yeah, it's. I'm still playing it. Like I'm only on like the 3rd or 4th tier or something, because when you have a game that tells you to stop playing it every once in a while or pay us money, it's very easy to forget about it completely. You know, even if you have the push notifications like, hey, you can come back and play. It's like, I wanted to play it 20 minutes ago, and now I don't care as much. You know,
except if it's Campus Crush.
And then it's just like, I don't care what I'm doing. I'm in the middle of a meeting. I'm sorry, excuse me. I realize that there's $5,000 on the line here for this video. I have to play Campus Crush.
Yeah.
Also, somebody reminded me on Twitter after our show last week when we did our kind of wrap up of the last gen. He said, Jeff, why didn't you talk about Xbox Live having this stupid $60 paywall for gold for a bunch of free features? And I completely forgot about it. And he's right. It is one of the biggest pieces of bullshit about Microsoft is that for free stuff like Netflix and other, video watching apps that you have to pay $60 for Xbox Live, that is total garbage.
For me, the worst thing, Netflix is annoying. That's fine. The worst thing was game trailers. It's like,
Yeah.
I what? The only way I can view this video is to download your Xbox app, and then I have to be a gold subscriber to do that. Oh my God. I want to punch you in the face.
Pretty crazy.
Yep.
Yeah. So he made a good point.
There was a bunch of things that we forgot that I was thinking about after. Like I was thinking about the show, and it's just like, oh yeah, we didn't talk about that. Oh yeah, we didn't talk about that. We didn't talk about that. Oh crap.
You know what? Because it's a very strange thing when you're trying to like, hey Lloyd, let's talk and make it about an hour, 15 minutes. We'll take 9 years of gaming and compress it into that. You know, like that's really difficult to do, you know, and I like when I'm talking, like, here's the bad stuff. I wanted it to be really bad. And I forgot about a lot of stuff, you know, the red ring was a big one, but that's because that is somehow superseded kind of like time and space. Like that's something that'll always be there to haunt Microsoft in some little way, you know, but it's like the minor things like the paywall for Xbox Live, or the paywall of Xbox Live that is just like mind-blowingly frustrating. Like especially considering when we did the E3 show, they were like, it was their reveal for the Xbox One. They're like, hey, watch it here on the Xbox, game trailers app.
Yeah.
And they like advertise it everywhere, but you have to friggin' pay. Like that's ridiculous. And I realize a lot of people have Xbox Live, but like, you can't watch it with a silver account? You're going to charge me to friggin' watch E3? Get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
I'll just go to their website.
Well, that's why I use the 14-day free trial to do that. And it's just like, okay, well, if I can get away with it this way, that's fine. But I will never do it again. And yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's totally
ridiculous. Cool.
But they're making money off of it. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. Well, I think that's going to about do it for new releases. What do you say we take a small break and then we'll get into feedback and we'll talk a little bit about Pokemon after that?
Sure.
All right, let's take a small random chiptune. Let's see how this goes. Okay, not too bad so far. All right. So that one was Oxide. Chain Reaction by the group Oxide.
Pretty good.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. It took a little bit for us to get into it. We're trying to fix some of our video connection issues, so hopefully that will make it better for the rest of the show. All right, man, let's get into it. We'll talk about our feedback first. The first one's from Andre Michel or Michael. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your last name. Could go either way. Apologize if I said it wrong. And his message goes, "Hi, how are you doing? I just wanted to share something that's happening in Mexico. The president is raising taxes on a lot of stuff because of the money deficit. One of them being video games. As it is, games down here are very expensive. Example: a $60 PS3 game costs about $90 to $100 if you take exchange rates into account. And with the raise, it's going to be like $120 more or less. So essentially 2 for 1. It's getting really hard to be a gamer these days. Hope that you're well. Love the show a lot. So thanks for sharing that, Andre. We kind of forget that sometimes, that other parts of the world are just crazy, absolutely crazy. Like Australia is like that as well,
yeah.
where their prices are super high. And I know there's other countries as well. Even Japan, like a lot of games that are $60 here are like $80 in Japan, just because the market.
I remember reading an article a couple weeks ago, I think, about how video games in Japan are dying because it's all arcades and people are playing on their phones because it's 99 cents or like $5 or $6, right? And the actual like retail releases aren't being picked up as much because they're like $100. They're like, what would it be? 8,000 yen or something like that. After conversion.
Something like that.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy.
Well, I remember back like when the SNES was out, and you'd get like big releases on Super Nintendo would be like $80. Like I remember picking up Street Fighter 2 Championship Edition for like, I think it was like $84 when I bought it. And that's just what it was. And that was similar to what the prices were in Japan. People here said, screw that. I'm not paying that kind of money for games. And then slowly prices dropped to about $40. And then the next generation, they were 50. And the next generation, which is this generation, they're 60. It seems like some like Wii U prices are going down a little bit. It's like 50 again. Wii last generation was around 50 anyway, and even cheaper. So it's definitely fluid. But yeah, we feel for you, Andre. That's horrible. I can't imagine having to save money to buy a game for $120 when that's 2 games. You could basically be playing 2 for 1. Ack in the chat room is asking if digital downloads, digital distribution would be the answer. Maybe there's some way that you can get a console and sign up for an American account and then pay with American money or something. That would be a way to get around the locks, the region locks, since the consoles aren't region locked, and then some of the extra prices you pay over there. Maybe that's a solution for you. But yeah, man, that stinks. I hate that. Hopefully things get sorted out down there, because that is really horrible.
Does Amazon reflect the taxes of the area it's in, or they have their own like? I never noticed when I rarely buy shit on Amazon, like maybe once or twice. I never know what the taxes were.
Yeah, I don't know what Amazon charged for taxes. I was talking more about like digital downloads right on your console.
Yeah. Because I guess there's no. Is Mexico still on? It's still under NTSC, right?
Yeah, I would think so.
So maybe he can get stuff from Amazon. But yeah, like that's a tough problem. I mean, there would only be maybe 2 or 3 games a year that I would be willing to spend that much money on, and they'd all come out around the same time, which would still make me insanely poor. That's really crappy. That's really crappy.
Yeah. That is horrible. So hopefully it gets better for you, and maybe you can find a different way to kind of scam the system and get things a little bit cheaper, which would be great. All right, moving on. We got a second email. This one's from Kevin Eddy, and he goes, "Firstly, love the podcasts. Keep up the good work. I listen to Nintendo Pulse, TOG, and Bonus Stage. I've recently purchased a Wii U with Wind Waker, and I'm planning on buying Disney Infinity. My question is, should I buy the starter pack, or when I buy the starter pack, what order would I recommend playing the characters in? Also, any additional must-have packs you could recommend? I'll eventually pick them all up, but just looking for your suggestions. Keep up the great work, guys." All right, so Disney Infinity, love Disney Infinity. I really loved playing it. the order that I played the games in is I played The Incredibles first, because that was the one that they seemed to be pushing as the game in the set, because there was like 5 characters and all that. And then I played Pirates of the Caribbean, and then I played Monsters University. Of the 3, Pirates of the Caribbean was definitely the best. So I don't know if you want to save best for last or get that out of the way first. You can kind of figure out that way. But for me, Pirates was definitely the best one, followed by Incredibles, and then Monsters University, or maybe Monsters University then Incredibles. They were both pretty much the exact same. If you're looking for some must-haves, if you want to buy some additional playsets, you have to get the Lone Ranger. It is the best one available at that time. I'm playing through the Toy Story in Space right now. That's another game that I forgot to talk about. I picked up the Toy Story in Space starter set, and I'm playing through it. It is really, really good. Really good. Probably my favorite of all the sets. But
yeah, I saw you tweeted a picture of the Jessie figure, right?
Yeah. It's really good. Really, really well done. You can definitely tell that this game was born out of the Toy Story 3 game that came out a couple years ago. The love that they're showing for the Toy Story playset is it's amazing. It's so much fun. But I would recommend the Lone Ranger, mainly because it unlocks the Crow Pack, so you can fly around when you're in Toy Box mode. Super handy, a lot of fun as well. And then Toy Story in Space is really good as well. The playset is fun, and it unlocks a jetpack and a rocket boost pack, so you can jump really high or fly, which is really great for your toy box mode. And then the other ones, they're okay. Cars is okay. You can take it or leave it, whether you like Cars. Unless you are into figure collecting, there really is no reason to own all the other figures that don't have a playset, because they're only playable in the toy box mode. So that would be Jack Skellington, which is out now, and then coming out in the near future, you're gonna have Wreck-It Ralph and Vanellope. You're gonna have the 2 Frozen princesses. You're gonna have Sorcerer Mickey. And there's a couple other ones, Phineas and Agent P, I believe. So all those, they're just going to be characters that are playable only in toy box mode. So unless you really like the figure, or you're buying them now to basically hedge your bets that next generation, maybe they'll be maybe it'll ship with Ferb, and it will ship with Fix-It Felix, and it will ship with some other Frozen characters, so that those 2 characters will interact with the 3 that come with Disney Infinity 2 and then playable. Really no reason to own those yet. I would stick to the playsets personally, unless you're a collector. But yeah, Disney Infinity is lots of fun. I loved Pirates of the Caribbean, Lone Ranger, and I'm really loving Toy Story in Space. So those are by far the 3 best playsets in the game right now. Cool. So, thanks, Kev, for that email. Definitely love the fact that you listen to all 3 shows, and hopefully you like that we read your email on the show as well.
He's going to email back next week. I hated that you read my email. You should have kept it to yourself.
I emailed you so that it would be a little secret between us, not so you'd read it on the podcast.
This was private. How dare you?
All right. Let's get into reviews, man. We're gonna talk about Pokemon X and Pokemon Y. I am Pokemon X. You're Pokemon Y.
Yes.
Why did you choose Y?
I didn't, actually. Carly chose it for me because she liked the Pokemon on the cover of X better.
Okay. The reason why I chose Pokemon X is because I loved the look of the legendary. The deer.
So the same reason.
Same reason. The deer looked a hell of a lot better than the crazy bird with hands thing.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't really like this character. So I picked the deer one just because it looked like a better character.
It is a weird looking thing. I didn't really care that much, right? Like, it's the same game, but it's actually not really the same game. And actually, depending on what gender character you play, it's actually quite a bit different, which is very interesting. I thought that when I first started playing, I was like, oh man, you get to play as like either a boy or a girl. And Carly's like, well, that was in the last Pokemon too. And I'm like, oh man, I am so out of touch with Pokemon. I think it's important to note that the previous game to this I played was like Diamond or something, or the one before that. Like, it's been 5 or 6 years since I played a Pokemon game with any like real drive to kind of beat it.
Yeah,
And I feel
I
like
was looking for mine. I think mine was Pearl.
I
Long,
think
long
yeah,
time.
that sounds right. Maybe I played that one. It's been a long time, and I think that kind of level of distance between games has made me appreciate this one a lot more.
Hmm.
Because a lot of the things that I think are new to the series have actually been around for like all the generations of Pokemon.
Right.
Because it's really, when you get right down to it, it's not that different, but it's just different enough to feel new, you know. And I feel like that's okay.
I don't know. I have to disagree with you a little bit there.
Okay.
It's way different from any experience that I've had with Pokemon. And I know you've played a lot of the earlier ones. Wasn't into
Yeah.
Pokemon when it first came out. I wasn't the Pokemon kid because I was not a kid anymore, and it seemed like I was in my that's too childish phase. So I would never pick up a Pokemon game to play. For me, the change to the 3D engine makes it feel like a modern game. The fact that they've added the experience share as just an item that you turn on, and every time that you get in a battle, all your Pokemon in your party are leveling. The fact that they've made it easier to get some of the HMs so you can quickly get around. You get rollerblades right away, so you can fastly or more quicker in traveling between cities. You get a bike pretty much right near the start as well, or about a few hours in.
Yeah.
They've basically made this game in such a way that no one has to cheat anymore to get Pokemon that are like with hack stats, because they've made it so that the leveling is so easy to do, which isn't a detriment to the franchise. It's good because you can find the two parents that you want, or the one parent and the ditto, and you put them in the Pokemon daycare and they hatch eggs, and you could do that repeatedly and super fast, and then hatch your eggs and get whatever statted Pokemon that you want. And then have you played with like Pokemon Me or the Mega Training or whatever the heck that's called?
I have not, because I actually didn't even know it existed, and then I was like, Carly and I were like getting ready to go to bed or whatever, and she was playing it, and I'm like, "What the hell are you doing?" And like she's
Yeah.
like, "It looks like Nintendogs or something,"
Oh,
and she's like, "Oh
it's
yeah, you can like play with your Pokemon and
it's
feed them and
huge.
stuff," and apparently that gives your Pokemon like they like you more, they listen to you in battle better, and of course they gain stats quicker. That was
Even
really cool.
even better than that, like if you can raise your Pokemon his like or her like, whatever that stat is called, so they like you the best, if you get it all the way to the top, they'll do things like they'll heal between fights, they'll get rid of status effects themselves, they'll do extra damage, they get criticals like so much more reliably. It's a huge thing. So if you're battling with your friends, not that I would ever do that, I mean that's I'm way past that, but if you're in school and you have Pokemon battles on the school grounds, I could see them spending almost as much time playing Pokemon and Me as they would basically playing the main game, because they would breed their perfect Pokemon, and then they'd get their status all the way up to the top, and then hope for the double damage criticals, or to get rid of any status effects while they're fighting.
I didn't realize it got that deep.
Yeah,
I should start doing that. But it's like the game is so much fun to play,
levels,
right?
on levels on levels on levels on levels. Like the game is just crazy deep.
It is very deep. Yeah, it's super deep.
And then you have the super training, which is the third tab, and basically you do mini games to get items that will level your character ups in the way that you want. So if you want your, like I'm on mine with my Chestnut, if I want my Chestnut to have the maximum attack, I would just keep doing the strength training for attack, and then it would raise that stat higher than all the other ones, so that if I want to do like mega damage or whatever. So you can pretty much edit your stats however you want without going into a Pokemon hacking program and then breaking your game or whatever. They've basically built it into the game where it's something that you can do. So they've taken the grinding and the non-fun part about the game, but still left all the kind of like joy that you get from just exploring and finding random Pokemon and stuff like that too.
Totally. I mean, just it's right after you finish the first gym badge, which is roughly, like, depending on how quickly you're going through sections, 2 hours into the game, and then you get the experience share item, which is, in my opinion, the best innovation, I guess I should say, in a Pokemon game in a long time, because of how easy it is to upgrade all the rest of or level up the rest of your Pokemon, right? Like I usually play the game in a way where my main Pokemon, the one I get the first when I choose, out of the three, that's the one I'm going to use 90% of the time. And only unless it dies am I going to use other Pokemon. And now that the experience share thing is in your inventory, you can either turn it off or on. I don't know why anyone would have it off because now your Pokemon don't have to hold it.
It would be
makes it so that
for certain evolutions that you don't want your character to level up past a certain level, you'd want to turn that off.
I guess so. Yeah, that's a good point. I've never, I've never been that deep into Pokemon where I'm like, he has to be at this stage. Yeah. But I could definitely see someone caring about it in that regard. There are certainly some diehard Pokemon players out there. But when my Frogadier, whatever, finally dies in battle and I've got no more potions, I have leveled up Pokemon just from them being in my inventory that are ready to go and kind of, they're not 15 or 20 levels behind my main Pokemon, right?
Sure.
Like that's a huge thing. That I hated about the original Pokemon was just that like you can't really do the whole game with one Pokemon unless you're like level 90.
For sure. And that's the best thing about this version of Pokemon is experience share isn't an item, where in previous generations it was an item that your main Pokemon would hold. So if that Pokemon dies in battle, like none of your other Pokemon will get experience from then on out. And it also prevented you from holding other items that were maybe better. Like I have the lucky medal or whatever it's called that doubles the earnings that I get in battles. So I get experience share and I get double the money, and I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to decide one or the other. I'm getting both, which is great. It's they've made it so it's easier, and it's less grindy, which is I think always been my problem with the games, where I'd get so far and then I'd be worried about, well, I want to be able to beat the boss. I have to get this Pokemon. To get it, I have to breed these two, get the perfect egg, do this, do that. And it's just like, I don't want to do that. And then I would basically stop playing because it became a chore. It was basically playing via spreadsheet. In this game, I'm over level 50. I'm beating everything that I get to, not always instantly, but there's some difficulties, but there's a lot of one-shot kills as well, which is great because it gets rid of a lot of the time it takes to clear a city of Pokemon, like Pokemon trainers that want to battle you and stuff. It's really fun when you're fighting in the different gyms and things like that too, because it's just so much quicker to get from one to the other. So
totally.
I really like it. The game itself, the 3D engine makes a huge difference to me. It doesn't feel like I'm playing something old, which is weird because I love retro games, but for me, Pokemon always seemed dated, not old in a good way, but just dated. Like they could have done more.
I still feel like they could have done more with this game. Like I feel like they were probably on the fence about how new do we make it before it's not Pokemon anymore. Totally. And I feel like the Call of Duty is trying to figure that out as well, right? Like how much can we really change this money formula before it's not our money formula anymore? And I can understand like a little bit of hesitation on the part of the developer to go, maybe we should hold back a little bit so that at least in 2 years when we're bringing out another one, we've got somewhere to go with it.
Sure.
Right. And bottom line on this game is it's going to be something that just on its kind of the way it brings you in and the kind of the way you get addicted to just the battles and I got to get another badge, just the next town, it's going to bring you in for like 30 hours, 40 hours at least just to beat the game. And then there is so many other things you can do post that. I mean, the like the battle mansion or whatever, where you get like, now I'm like a different nobility or whatever. What the hell is that place called?
I think it is. I think it's called the Battle Man, or it's something mansion. I can't remember what it's called.
Something like that. And like that was a cool little thing.
Yeah. I keep going back and clearing it multiple times by inviting other levels of people there and stuff.
That's kind of cool. I like that addition, even though it's just one building, but it's something different, right? The things that really bother me are you get to a point where all you want to do is get to the next town, and every step you take is a random battle, and it's just so frustrating.
That's
And
when
it
you
always
use the
happens.
items.
Yeah, for sure, right? Like the repel and stuff.
Yeah.
And by the way, repel in this game, they finally did it right where once it's out, a little thing comes up on the screen and says, "Hey, your repel's out. Do you want to use another one?"
Exactly.
Like, thank God for that. Finally, I mean, like
Yeah.
it's been nearly 2 decades of Pokemon, and they just thought of that. Like I remember playing any other iteration of the game and like being on a repel and having no clue, right? Like, oh, I must be getting close to the end. Should I use another one? Like I have
Yep.
no idea how many steps I have left. So that's really nice that's an addition to the game. But it is still frustrating just like every second, like, oh, random battle. And I wish that more games did what Earthbound did, where like if the computer's smart enough now, if you can win the battle in one hit on your first Pokemon, then it should just be immediate victory. And I love that Earthbound did that in like what 1989 or whatever, where if you are such, you're getting into a random battle and you're such a high level that the game knows there's 100% probability that you're going to win this on the first hit. Let's just give it to you, because most of my random battles in Pokemon are like that anyway right now.
Yeah.
So it's really, I don't know why they didn't do that.
Because people go back and catch all the Pokemon they haven't caught
Oh
yet.
yeah, that's a good point, right?
So
the Pokemon want to catch Pokemon.
Yeah, like if you want to turn off, or if you want to make it faster, you can turn off intro animation. So it basically just gets right into the battle. You can go to the options and turn that off so you don't get all the introductions and things, and it will speed that up a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it gets a little grindy. Like I'm playing this game just fun, like whatever's fun for me. So I'm not spending time grinding all the different Pokemon that I can catch in a certain little clump of grass. I'm picking if they attack me randomly and they look good, I'm picking them up. If not, maybe I'll pick them up later. Probably not. I don't care about filling my Pokedex. Back to the 3D engine, like you said that it seems like they only went halfway, and I read a little article about kind of what had to go into them doing this, and they basically had to redo 700 plus Pokemon in 3D models for this game. Well, they've had other 3D games before, like Pokemon Battle Revolution or whatever the other ones were that had 3D models. They're different, and they had to recreate all these things. So I think what they did is, since the engine has always been 2D sprite based, they moved the engine into 3D and made 3D models, and then they can keep iterating on that then. So instead of just iterating on the tile-based stuff that they had before, now they're iterating on a 3D engine. So I think this is kind of like the first step in a new generation of what the game's going to look like. But for me, this was huge. This was like the difference between me playing Final Fantasy on the NES to playing like Final Fantasy on the Super Nintendo. It's just like, holy crap, this looks so much better. This is amazing. And I'm not being taken out of the game by the really dated visuals. Like, not that they look dated, because I like retro games, but just the fact that they could be doing it differently and to a better effect, because what they're doing now doesn't add anything to the experience. For me, that's probably probably the hugest step that they made. Like, on top of all the other easy training stuff, the fact that they made it that much better looking, it just allowed me to jump right into the game and say, okay, yep, this is awesome.
Yeah. When Carly started playing it, like I was on the couch and she was on the one next to me, and she's like, "Oh my God, it looks so different." Like, she was just blown away. Like, she was just talking to herself, but totally taken aback by how different it is. And she's like, this person who's played like every iteration of Pokemon, right? Mm-hmm. And it's certainly very different and very impressive too. I think when it comes to the way the towns look, I love that stuff. Like, especially when you get to the big city in the center, Lumio City, right? Really, like, kind of remarkable how good it looks on the 3DS, and like the just even in terms of just the way the colors are put together. You know, the palette is really nice, and it looks a little more realistic, although that's a really bad word to use for a game like this. But it certainly does look like it just pops out of the screen a little bit more. The battles are the best they've ever been. The 3D, even though it's a subtle effect, is a really nice touch. Like, it's surprising how kind of that just brings you into the experience a little bit more. And yeah, like when like if you ever fight like Team Flare or something, that's kind of like the main bad, or I think so, the main bad guys of the game.
Yeah.
They have a nice little like intro animation that's 3D and it's like fire and it's like that's a really nice little graphic. Like I love that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
the art style is just a really well done, well polished experience. Like it's
Yeah.
kind of hard to even equate it to another 3DS game because not I don't think there are very few open worldy kind of games like this on the 3DS that look this good. Even Harvest Moon is completely outclassed when it comes to Pokemon in this term. It still has the the what are the like 1 inch high ridges or whatever that you can't jump over that
Yeah.
kind of like guide your experience, which is okay. I mean, I understand that they're probably pushing a lot on the hardware just to kind of get it to look the way it does. They don't want to have to render more environment just so that we can have a little bit wider area to go around in. Towns look great. Even the ones that aren't the Lumio City, that are just kind of the regular Pokemon towns, everything just looks fresh and like there's a really great attention to detail in Pokemon that I think that like really even just in Nintendo games, made games across the board that I wish other developers would take kind of a look at, say they really put some time and effort into their games when it comes to making them, and this is something that I think everyone should do. And it's not done very often. But yeah, it's a fun game. I think the only problem, the biggest problem I have with it so far is how slow the game feels between your first and second badges, and it slows down to where I almost didn't want to play it anymore. You get your first badge, and then it's like, okay, you got to go and figure out a little bit more about Mega Evolution, and it's like 3 hours, which it's not a long time, but you're walking around, you ride on
slow.
those stupid Rhyhorn things, which is horrendous control, by the way, because it moves into the grid thing. Oh, just awful when you have to ride those stupid things. And then you go into the cave. Cave looks great, which is really cool. You go talk to the doctor, and then you leave, and you walk all the way back, and then you can finally go through the next town, and then it starts again, and then it just like kicks into high gear. Like every friggin' town on your stop is the next badge, the next badge, the next badge, and that's cool. So it picks up, but there's that 3-hour section where I was like, I don't really want to play this anymore.
Really?
I kind of wanted to quit.
For me, I could see what they were doing. They were teaching you all of the game mechanics. They were giving you your second starter Pokemon. They were allowing you to evolve or level or whatever you want, all your other characters that you want to keep with you, try out different things. The amount of different Pokemon that you encounter between the first badge and the second badge, just a huge amount of different Pokemon. So you pretty much have a chance to pick anything that works for you. And if you use the mystery gift thing, so before you choose your save game, you go to the mystery gift and you get the one that's given to you, the whatever that thing was. I keep forgetting it.
Not Chespin. Is it Chespin?
No, it's not Chespin. That's the first one. I can't remember.
It evolves into Combuskin.
Yeah, it's like it's the chicken. It's the fire chicken thing, and I can't think. Torchic is what it was.
Torchic. There we go.
And
stupid.
And so you have Torchic, you have your first Pokemon, so whether it's Chespin, Fennekin, or Croaky or whatever, and then you get to choose Charmander, Blastoise, or Bulbasaur. So you get like 3 starter Pokemon from this version and 2 of the previous generation ones. By the time that you get to beat your 3rd and 4th gym, it's just like, okay, I'm set and I'm ready to go. There's really nothing that can touch me. And so I could see why they were doing that. They wanted you to kind of bulk up or whatever. But yeah, it was long. Like it was probably 12 hours before I got to the second gym to do the thing, or maybe 10 hours. Like it was a long time.
You must really go through and like when I get to a new town, I don't talk to anyone unless.
Oh, really?
Unless it's story based.
There's so many things that they give you, like different items, different HMs, all that stuff. I don't want to miss something that might be valuable for my quest going forward. So I talk to everybody. I meet all of the guy in the purple suit, so I can get all the O powers to give to friends or to give to myself or whatever. So yeah, I do explore every little bit. I stock up on my items, and then I go out and travel. But yeah, it was a long period of time. But then you hit the second gym, then you hit the third gym, then you hit the fourth gym, and it's just like it just keeps kind of snowballing after that, which is
and
great.
the second gym design is actually really, really nice with the rock wall. I like that.
Yep.
The first one I didn't like.
The spider web thingy.
Yeah, the spider web. That was
Yeah.
stupid, but whatever.
I made all the drops of water fall off because I thought maybe that would do something, but it was just like, nope, didn't do anything. I wasted time.
Yeah, I didn't like. Was that like the path you have to follow, or like once you cross one of those, you can't go back? I never knew. Like I didn't know what those, or maybe it was just a touch. Like, hey, there's water on this spider web. It's kind of weird. I didn't really understand that. And also like in terms of just you being the leader of a Pokemon gym, which is like the maybe the most well established other than the Elite Four way of being a good Pokemon trainer. How do you get to be the leader of a gym and yet you only have one Pokemon? That doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I never think there should be a leader of a gym that has one Pokemon. Because it was like, okay, it's a gym fight, sweet, leader, one Pokemon? And it was like,
I'm okay with mediocrity. I'm good enough where I am. I've gotten to level 14. I don't need to do anymore. I'm just going to sit here and relax and enjoy my old life.
Exactly, right. And they're like judging you, like, oh, are you? I mean, actually, everybody's really nice in the Even if you whoop them, like they're pretty nice. But they're like, I can't wait to see if you're good enough to beat me. I'm like, you kidding me? There's like 97 kids out there that are good enough to beat you. Like, how are people losing to you? You have like a Weedle? What the hell is that? Like, come on! I drowned you with 2 water moves. Like, it was insanely quick.
Yeah. No,
I don't understand that.
It is crazy. But the game is so much fun. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of the series. I've given it a couple kicks. The last one was Pearl. I think that's the last one I played, and I didn't even get like half of the badges, and I just said, yeah, this not for me, and I put it down. This one,
I've only ever beat one Pokemon game, and that was Pokemon Red.
Oh, okay, so early on, probably the only game you had to play for a long time or whatever. Because that's
and like when I was a kid, like I got pretty much every iteration up until a certain point when I bought my own, and then I just stopped playing. I was like, you know what, I don't care that much anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Like we were talking, some friends of mine were talking, people that are a little bit younger than me that had played all the Pokemon, and they're like, yeah, like Pokemon used to be hard to play, confusing. You didn't know what you were doing or where you were going, so you would talk to your friends in school, figure out where you have to go and what you have to do, it was the game that you played for like 6 months of the year, between your birthday and Christmas or whatever. And I could totally see that. And I'm glad that they're taking the game and they're evolving it to be kind of punny, I guess, to something that is a little bit newer, where you like, it's not cumbersome, it's not hard, it's not annoying. It's just like, okay, you want to do this, we're going to let you do it. If you want to go back and train some more, go ahead. If not, you can beat the game with the 6 first Pokemon that you catch, essentially.
Yeah, and it does seem
really
like it seems like a less directed experience, right?
Yeah.
Like they're giving you a little bit more free reign. Clothing is too expensive, but that's okay.
I haven't bought a piece of clothing.
Yeah, I haven't bought anything either. Like everything just kind of looks gross. Like I'm like, I don't care about any of this.
Yeah.
You know, like I get that people are. They're like, oh, this is cool. You know, I get to.
But it doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything. All it does is it makes your little screenshot look different when you have a big friends list and you pass people, and it's just like, really, I don't care.
Did you download the patch update today for X and Y?
No, I haven't done it yet. I'm gonna do that probably before I go to bed. I'll start the download.
Yeah, where do you download it from?
You just go into eShop, and it immediately prompts it. It says, "Oh, you're playing this game. There's an update available. Do you want it?" You hit yes, and
there was a pretty great game-breaking bug. That,
if you saved in the big city, the big like
Lumios.
French Lumios or Lumosity, I want to call it, which isn't.
You know what's funny? Right. Like I saved in that city, right? Closed the game, and then like a day later, when I was going to play again, I was reading Kotaku, and they're like, "Oh yeah, Big Lumio City save game breaking bug." I'm like, "Oh shit, oh
Yeah.
no!" But
Yeah.
everything was fine, so I was like, "Thank God!" And I never went back to that city again.
Yeah,
I
it's
just left, and it's in my rearview mirror, and that's a little.
well, you have to go back to it eventually because the other half of
Yeah.
the city opens up. But yeah, it was only if you saved in the outer ring. If you're in the inside of the city by all the buildings, it was fine, and that's where I saved. When I read it, I'm like, but I saved in the city. Nothing happened. And then sure enough, it's like only if you saved in the outer ring. It's like, wow, how could that get past your QA? I mean, that's a pretty common thing for people to do is save a game once they get to a big city and then go do something else. So I don't know. Really
Especially
bizarre.
like the center of the map, like this is a big Pokeball,
It's
like
the
hey,
hub.
this is a monster city. There's another thing that really bothers me, and it's something that I hope that Pokemon kind of works through over the next little while.
Mhm.
The inventory management is a nightmare, and like there's way too many menus in this game. Everything is kind of compartmentalized, and it seems like it's too slow to get through. Like if I want to go and look at the map of the world,
Oh yeah.
it takes far too long to do so. There's no hotkeys. I mean, you've got a touchscreen, and I can't
There's
touch any of.
hotkeys.
There are hotkeys.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
You use the arrow keys. So what you do is you register something. So when you go
Okay.
to the items, you go enable, and then you can register. And then when you register,
Oh.
when you register, it basically goes on hotkeys. I can't remember how to do it though. You hit a button to activate the hotkey. Yeah, you hit Y. It brings up the hotkey menu, and then you can choose whichever item you have registered as the hotkey.
Cool. All right. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Then that's not as
I
big
don't
of a
I don't know if you could put map on it. I guess you could. Let's see.
because it does
Yeah.
take too long
So, yeah.
to do so.
So I can pull up I hit Y and then up, and my map pops up.
Oh, sweet. All right. Well, that's awesome then. The other problem I have with the inventory management is like if you got a Pokemon on your computer and you want to switch it out with one you have, you boot up the computer, you friggin' go into your computer, not or someone else's computer, right? Go in there,
Mhm.
then you deposit your Pokemon, the one you don't want in your party anymore.
Yeah.
Then you get out of that menu, you go into another menu, and then you take out the Pokemon you do want, and then you quit out of the computer. That is way too cumbersome and way too slow. And it's also really frustrating that apparently you have a holographic telephone, and yet you can't access the internet unless you're in a computer that's attached to the wall. Like I should be able to swap out Pokemon when I'm in the middle of nowhere, like just pull out my phone and do it like that or whatever, right? Like a holographic telephone. But I'm sorry, you need to be connected to a Team One line to get your Pokemon out of the computer. Like that's
Right.
so ridiculous, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Hopefully
There's a
that'll
lot of
come with
ridiculous things in the
the
game.
next version would be nice if they could do that,
I
if
hope
you could
so.
just manage it. The one thing that's really cool is the online stuff that they've added in this game. Like it is a real online service. Like you're playing the game, and if you turn on the online, you can see all the people that are playing on your friends list. You can see what level. You can look at their character card. You can do all that fun stuff. You can give them O powers, which so you can boost their attack or boost other different things, which is great. And then you can do online battles with people. You can do online trading, and there's even like random trading. So you can go right into the whatchamacallit, for random trading. I can't remember what they call it. A Wonder Trade. So you hit Wonder Trade. You put up a Pokemon, whichever one you want from your box. So I'm going to do it here on the show. I'll put up the most recent Pokemon that I caught so that I can just go catch it again if I really want. So I picked up a Doug Trio. It's a level, what level is it? Level 26. So pretty high level. I just caught it. So I'm going to hit trade. It's going to say offer this Pokemon for trade. I hit yes. And then it goes searching for a trade partner, and it goes to the internets and searching, wait a moment, and you get these little blips going in and out. Let's see what it's going to do. Oh, Tito. I found someone from Florida named Tito. Nice to meet you. We'll see what Tito gives me. What do I get? My Doug Trio, sending Doug Trio to Tito. Goodbye, Doug Trio. And then my Pokeball flies into the ether, and I'm getting a Ditto. No way. That's pretty cool. That's a really great trade. I think it's a Ditto. It's a Japanese Ditto. That's even better. So now I have a Japanese Ditto Pokemon that he traded me.
What's different about the Japanese? Ditto is like it's like a dodo. It's got like two heads, right?
Let's see what this is. I'm gonna open it up. Oh wait, I can't look at it now, can I? Because I can't see the Pokemon that are in the thing. But if I go to O Trade again, Wonder Trade, I mean, I can probably look at it. Wonder Trade, blah blah blah. Yeah, that's the best part about Ditto is it can breed with any Pokemon. So you don't need to find egg pairs or whatever those things are called. I'm not that far into it.
That's cool.
So yeah, it's a Ditto from Japan. It's a level 30, and it only knows Transform. So no, it doesn't know Imposter, Skyward Keyblade. But yeah, I got a Japanese Ditto just by trading my thing. That's actually a really good trade because I wanted to find one of these so I could do play with the breeding after. And yeah, so I got a Japanese Pokemon. So that means it's going to level faster and some other things like that, which is really nice. So really cool. Thanks, Tito from Florida.
Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you meant it's special ability. Sorry, I don't know where to look for that. Here, let me do it. But yeah, so there's like a whole bunch of online things that you can do. Like you can do battles, you can do trades, you can do those O powers, you can do all sorts of things. Oh, it's special abilities Limber, not Imposter. But yeah, I mean it's cool. I have a hard time believing that Nintendo is actually realizing that the internet really exists, and it does, and you can play it online, battles, like wherever you want. This game also supports the game sync, so you can sync your progress up to the Pokemon website. I'm sure the Pokemon Bank will be available at some point. I don't know if that's out yet or not. I'm not even interested in it, so I'm not really looking into it. But that's a service where you can pay a monthly fee or a yearly fee rather to store your Pokemon in the cloud, which is just kind of ridiculous to me. But
I guess if you're going to tournaments and stuff, that's a worthwhile investment. But
actually,
that's
if you're going into tournaments, sanctioned tournaments, your Pokemon have to come from the cloud because they have too many people that were hacking otherwise. So
yeah, you were telling me last week.
Yeah, so it's just like, it's weird. It's like Nintendo realizes the internet is out there, and this game is taking full advantage of it in a really, really amazing way. Like you can chat with your friends, you can have voice chat. So if you're on and I'm on and we're friends on the 3DS, I can hit the voice chat button and we can actually have like a voice chat while the game.
And this is Nintendo we're talking about.
This is Nintendo, and this is a 3DS. This isn't like a console or anything. They did a really good job.
Just like, so it blows me away when Nintendo like acknowledges the existence of the internet, like
without needing to sell you a $40 appliance that you're only use once for that one game to do that stuff.
Exactly, right? Like, I mean, like Nintendo's been doing Nintendo Direct now for what, like 2 years?
Yeah.
And like they should be like opening their systems up. Like the 3DS friend code is just a nightmare, right? I mean, It could be a lot worse. It's really not that bad. What is it? Only 12 digits, right?
And it was a lot worse on the DS and the Wii, where each game and each person had their own one. I'm sure before the end of the year, we're going to have the patch for 3DS, which is going to offer or going to add in the Nintendo Network ID. So it'll be the same login as your Wii U, and it'll be like the one login to rule them all type thing, which would be great. But yeah, it's getting better. They're supporting independent developers. They're really pushing that. This is a kind of a different Nintendo. I think their stock taking a dive for as long as it did really changed them, and it allowed them to put out a really awesome game. And
yeah, what are they at, like $19 now? I mean, they were like 2 years ago they were like $35.
I don't even look at the stock market, to tell you the truth, so I'm not positive on that.
No, I do. I look a lot.
But the best thing about this is Pokemon was released worldwide on the exact same day. It's like the first time that has ever happened for Nintendo. So Japan didn't have Pokemon for months or like weeks or months before we did. It was released on the exact same day, which is really cool. I hope Nintendo starts doing that with a lot more of their releases. So it's not they don't treat different parts of the world differently. It was kind of neat. I don't know. I guess in summation, I really dig this game. I'm not a Pokemon fan by any stretch. I don't have Pikachu pajamas or anything. I don't have a stuffed Pikachu in my bedroom anymore. Actually, do my kids even have Pokemon? My kids don't even have any Pokemon stuff, even though they like Pokemon because the kids trade the cards at school. I'm as far from the target audience as you could possibly get, and I'm loving everything about this game. So, if you're curious, if you've ever wanted to jump into Pokemon but you thought it's too much to learn, too much to do, this is like my first Pokemon type thing. They could brand it that way because they make it really easy to jump in. Really,
True, it is very user friendly.
Really easy to create your team. They don't punish you if you create a team that is imbalanced because you can level up so quickly that you can just out level any of the gyms that you're going into. You could just grind up and complete them. Yeah, I mean it's a great game. Check it out. Pokemon X or Y. I bought mine digitally so that I could always have it on my 3DS. I know Jeff has it on cartridge, so there's a couple different ways to go at it. But yeah,
eventually I will get rid of it.
It's a great game. Check it out. Pokemon X and Y on your 3DS. Anything else to add, Jeff, before we jump into a small break?
No, yeah, like I'm trying to figure out if I missed anything, but yeah, like I think it's a really fun game. It's got a lot of problems, but like they're minor things, you know, that in no way make any part of the game feel like it's, you know, you're wasting your time, right? Which is probably like maybe the biggest the biggest crime a game could commit is that like I'm wasting my time here. And yeah, like it got a little bit boring after the first badge, but you know, again, minor, very minor. It's a really fun game. And you know what? If you're waiting for our review on whether or not you should buy Pokemon, you kind of should have just bought it already, right? Like, I mean, like you missed out for a week or so. It's one of those games that like if you've got a 3DS, you should just get Pokemon. If you've got an Xbox, you should probably just get Halo. You know, like it's that kind of thing. If you got a PS3, you should just get Uncharted.
Yep. Yeah. No, I agree. I agree fully. Cool. All right. So we're going to take a small little break again. We'll do the random chiptune thing again. Take a small break just to catch our breath and have some water. And then we'll get back with a couple news items that we have for you this week. So here we go. Random chiptune button. Let's see what this is. There we go. Starship Amazing. I'll change it to a different one that's actually, there we go. This one's actually a chiptune, not some other thing that was on an album.
Yeah, so, that's from their remix album.
Exactly. So we'll be back in a couple minutes, guys. Enjoy the song, and we'll get back with the news right away.
That was a nice little chill track. Actually, kind of sounded like it could be in Pokemon.
Yeah, it did actually. That one was let's see, it was Subpixel was the group, and it was called I Know I Know. Yeah, nice little track.
And, actually, now that I think about it, maybe a little addendum to the Pokemon review. Music is very inconsistent. It's either really, really great, and that's usually in the gyms, and then like kind of your like town music's always really nice and chill.
Sure.
And then like just your regular battles seem very boring, because it's just the same like like maybe 1 or 2 bars of music repeated. But anyway, we'll move on from this.
For sure. Yeah, I agree with that. All right, cool. Let's move on. Let's get into the news. Let's kick off with a couple COD stories, since that is kind of popular these days. People like the COD.
We are Friday, Saturday, so like 10, 11 days away from release of COD Ghosts.
Yeah, crazy. I was talking to someone. Sorry, but to just jump down a rat hole. You know how they have like the Prestige edition or whatever, like the crazy box set thing. Apparently, Winnipeg's only getting like 5 of them.
Really?
Like a GameStop in Winnipeg is only getting 5 of them, like citywide.
Huh.
Are they like crazy hard to get normally? Like I would think that they would want to sell as many of the $100 set or $150 set as they could.
Yeah, so this one, like, it has like a kind of like a GoPro thing. It's like this little mounted helmet camera, for Ghosts or whatever, and then like the season pass or whatever for DLC. They've never been that super rare, Like, I mean, PNP had like a Black Ops 2 care package for like months.
The remote control car or whatever.
Yeah, that was for Black Ops 1. The remote control helicopter, the quadcopter, was in the care package for the second one. But yeah, like it's strange, but I think less and less people are buying them because they're just so ridiculously expensive. But the markup for them, for Infinity War, for Activision, is insane. I mean, you're paying like what amounts to, in some cases, an extra $70 or $80 worth of stuff that they put in there for like $10. I mean, it's crazy the markup that they get on that stuff. So I didn't hear about that, but that's strange that they're getting so few. Maybe they got to be selling less,
Yep.
And I think first of all, the pre-orders for Call of Duty Ghosts are, I mean, they're great, but they're not as good. I mean, they're great for any other game that isn't Call of Duty, but they're nowhere near what Call of Duty is expecting. It's going to be a bad year for Call of Duty, I think. Maybe for any other game, it's going to be a great year if they got those sales numbers. But in terms of what Call of Duty does regularly, it's going to be a bad year.
Did you see what one of the people at Activision did to congratulate GTA 5?
I did, yeah.
The backhanded compliment is like, "Oh, congratulations for having the biggest launch ever. We wish you continued success, and we will we promise to get that title back sometime before you ship GTA 7 or GTA 6 rather."
Yeah,
which is kind of a backhanded compliment that it takes you 5 years to ship a game, so of course it could be the biggest thing ever. Just like, really? Did you need to do that?
Call of Duty will never do those numbers again.
No one's ever going to beat $1 billion in 3 days. I mean, that's ridiculous.
I think it'll happen. I think it'll happen probably not in the next 3 or 4 years.
I don't know,
something will come out and it'll do it.
I don't think next generation that there is going to be a game that is going to be sold $60 on a disc. Like that.
You don't think so?
The way things are changing, like who knows? In 5 years, maybe games are digital download and they're $25. I don't.
True.
I don't think the world is gonna accept $60 plastic spinny things sold in stores anymore. I think things are changing. So this might be the last chance to ever like create a huge Guinness Book of World Records record like that. But who knows? You never know, right?
Yeah, I mean, DVDs still sell a lot. And I think that
but they're no longer $36 like when they first came out.
Yeah, sure. Like Blu-rays are still pretty expensive, but I mean the media is also pretty expensive just to print on. But yeah, like I feel like optical-based media is going to be around for, I'd say, at least a half a decade before it really sees a decline into digital. But yeah, you're definitely right. Like eventually it's going to go away, and the prices have got to come down because nobody is going to pay $60 for a digital game. I mean, it's not going to happen, right? So Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, right? I mean, the numbers of purchases will go up because it's cheaper, but they certainly won't make the same amount of money, right? It'll probably might even out if they're lucky. It's going to be a strange time, when we see like, a couple of years down the line, it's going to be a different conversation of whether or not like, you know, optical media is going to be sticking around, right? And I mean, there's like the Vita and the 3DS, are going to be those last vestiges of not optical media, but like physical media that are going to stick around longer than the consoles will. It's going to be strange.
Yeah,
but
I mean, when you look at, like, I think it's the last 6 years, DVD sales have dropped in half. Like,
yeah.
So, I mean, it's going away.
And they're literally giving them away at digital, like they're giving away DVDs inside of Blu-rays now.
Well, and the thing is, for DVDs, you can get a DVD that's a couple months old and it's $9.99 already. Like, it's crazy how cheap it was. And for them to keep moving numbers, they're selling them cheaper, so they're making less money. And the same thing's going to start happening with games. Like, the $60 plus plastic things in a box, that's not going to work anymore. And there's going to be a lot less people willing to spend $60 on bits that they download over their internet connection as well. So, well, we'll see what happens moving on. But that's not anything related to our story. Let's get into. Yeah.
I like the rat holes, though. I enjoy rat holes.
It's fun. It's fun. Why don't you tell us about the first one? Because I know you're probably going to take a little offense to this.
Well, actually, no. Okay. So I'll tell you the story. Mark Rubin is the executive producer at Infinity Ward, and Infinity Ward is the company that is who started Call of Duty and is now doing their iteration of this year's Call of Duty. It goes back and forth between Infinity Ward and Treyarch. Treyarch has done Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, and World at War. So with Call of Duty Ghosts, Infinity Ward's turn to come back. Mark Rubin told OXM. What was it? This is the 21st. So just a few days ago that, and I quote, "It's a kind of a weird, ironic thing to say." He's talking about COD gamers, people who play Call of Duty. They aren't hardcore gamers or even gamers, but they play Call of Duty every night. And those guys are going to continue to play regardless of platform. So I think the only thing we will continue to engage with that existing... So I think not only will we continue to engage with that existing player base, but we'll take the next gen and see how far we can go with it. So he's saying that Call of Duty players aren't hardcore gamers or even gamers. And that's a bold-ass statement. For the record, my belief is that if you've ever played a game ever, you're a gamer. Right?
Oh yeah, for sure. If you play solitaire on your Windows PC at work,
you're
a gamer. I mean, you're playing a video game.
Yeah, the designation of that term has become bastardized by friggin' keyboard warriors all over the place, and it honestly, like, the way that we, like, it was such a, like, when I was a kid, I never told people I played video games because you'd get picked on and shit, right? It was something you kind of kept to yourself. And now that so many people are playing video games, though, like, we're not including them because why? Like, I don't understand. Like, it kind of makes me sick, actually. But if you've ever played a game, you're a gamer. I don't care.
I don't know why they have to put people into different cubby holes. It's just like, who cares?
Exactly. Let's just play games together.
What is this conversation even about? It doesn't even make sense.
Exactly. So the thing that kind of like struck me as odd is that he's calling a significant portion of his fan base not hardcore gamers, and Call of Duty is what is classified as a hardcore game. I'm not quite sure how that is even being defined anymore. Like, a hardcore game is like, what, a AAA title that involves killing people, basically. That's, like, it has to be like a heavily marketed, bloody, violent kind of thing, in most regards, right? So they're not hardcore gamers. I would say a hardcore gamer is anyone who plays more than 5 hours a week. If you're playing that much games, you're into it hardcore. That would be my designation. So he's saying that because they're only playing this one game, and I know that there are a lot of people. We've talked about this on the show before. Like Lloyd, you have friends that only buy their consoles for Madden, right? Every
Yeah.
iteration of Madden.
Yeah.
And I know people who really only play, like they have their gamer tag or their gamer their gamer tag, right? And they've had like 7 years of Xbox Live Gold. They've got like maybe 1,000 gamer score because all they play is Call of Duty.
Right.
Like that's okay. That's totally okay.
Yeah.
It's just a really strange thing for him to say, like completely unprovoked. Just, the people who play our games aren't hardcore gamers. They're not even gamers. Like, if I was like Activision PR, I would have been like, "Oh, son of a bitch! Like you idiot!" Like that's not a good thing to say. Luckily, there hasn't been that much blowback from this, if really any at all. It was just a strange kind of off the cuff remark that he made. It's kind of strange that nobody's really talking about it.
It sounds stupid. I mean, why would
It
you?
is very stupid.
Like, why would you even do that? It just, I don't know. There's been a lot of really stupid quotes made in the last little while. It's just how do people get these jobs where
Most
they can
of them
actually
made by me on this show.
Well, yeah, there's that. I'd call a couple into question, but I won't. But yeah, it just
the viewers have their running list, I'm sure.
I like the episode we did about a month ago or whatever when you were playing Dick Sucker, the game, and there was a comment on the YouTube video. It's like the show actually starts at 12:07, and I was like, what? Did we do that much like preamble? Like what's happening? And I go to 12:07. It's like when you start talking about Dick Sucker, it's like, oh yeah, that's right.
That's so funny.
That's where it is. So yeah.
That guy knows exactly where it's at. That is like my hero of the day. I didn't know that. I'm gonna go check that out right now because that's gonna make me friggin' laugh.
It's funny. All right, moving on. Some more COD stuff. NeoGaf started up a thread earlier. Basically, there's a rumor going around. There's been a rumor for a while, actually, going around that Call of Duty Ghosts on the Xbox One was running at 720p, hardware scaled up to 1080, and on the PS4, it's actually running at 1080p. So what people have heard the rumor. They actually got some captured footage. So what they did is they did what they call is they look for a straight line and then they count the number of steps that it takes to go for like an almost straight line to go from one end to the other. And counting the number of steps, you can tell whether it's a true 1080p signal or if there's some sort of stretching, because you'll get weird steps if it's a nearly straight line at a small incline, and you can apply an algorithm to that to figure out what the actual pixel resolution was. And that's how they figured out that previous CODs were running at like 520 by something, hardware stretched up to 720p. So they've done it before and it's turned out to be accurate. So they did that with the video footage that's been released for COD, and they've come out with the conclusion that sure enough, all the video footage that's been shown of COD running on an Xbox One is actually at 720p. Meanwhile, all the video footage for COD on the PS4 is actually at 1080p. And then after that, there's a whole bunch of other things that happened. Some developers came up and said, yeah, every game that is shipping at launch is only going to be 720p. That it hasn't been talked about yet, and everybody's sworn to secrecy. And it's just like, is this really a thing? Is it possible that this console can only render internally at 720p because of hardware limitations? I doubt it, but like if you go down the rat hole of this story, there's some pretty damning things from different friends of developers that have been posting a lot on NeoGaf. So it's not like some new guy creating a website creating an account and posting stuff. That's pretty scary. I mean, it's going to be bad for COD if the game looks better on the PlayStation 4 and is running at a higher resolution. But that's one game or whatever. But if this is going to happen for all the launch titles, I mean, how scary is that, man?
You know what? In my brain, not that scary, but I'm not. I think I've grown past judging consoles based on like, oh, it's got to be 10 at 60 frames a second and all that stuff. In the grand scheme of things, that's not a big concern for me, but it is a huge concern for a huge amount of people. And for those people, I can totally understand where they're coming from when they're paying first of all, $100 over top of what is
That's the thing.
right, like the difference between the console. Oh, this one isn't 1080p, mine's not. I'm paying $100 more.
You're paying
What the
$100
fuck?
more because they're bundling a stupid camera that nobody wants.
Yeah, and oddly enough, that camera records in 1080p.
Yeah, which is
That's really
ironic.
funny.
So
It is strange. It is very strange. I'm still curious on whether or not these rumors are true. Again, they are rumors, but like you said, the evidence is mounting up, and
Yeah.
it's becoming more and more factual as the days go on.
and this could just be pre-release code that hasn't been optimized,
True.
so that's why it's
Yeah.
at that. But then you get developers come out and say, yeah, our title is 720p hardware scaled up to 1080. If it has a good hardware scaler, you're probably, like, most people won't be able to tell the difference.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
it's still going to look good. You're going to get some muddiness in your textures. You're going to get some jaggies. But to most people, it's going to look the same from one console to another. But this really kind of concerns me. If this is actually true, if let's just go down the road that this is actually happening,
Sure.
that
Yep.
the Xbox One is all games shipping for it are actually rendered internally at 720p, hardware scaled up to 1080 and pushed out to your television. This means that a console that is shipping at the same time as another console going head to head is not as powerful. So what's going to happen in 4 years? What's going to happen in 5 years? What's going to happen in 6 years? Like, it's crazy. Look how good games look on the PS3 now compared to the 360. The PS3 games look much better, but the hardware is very similarly taxed, but there's a little bit more graphical power, just a little tiny, like a little tiny twist of the knob, more graphic power on the PS3, and it
Yeah.
makes this huge of a difference. What would happen if the system is like maybe 25%, 40% faster? Who knows? Like,
Yeah.
this should be
And is
really
this
scary
something that,
for
like,
Microsoft shareholders if it's actually true. But
or,
it's just a
or
rumor right now.
people who have pre-orders.
Well, yeah, you're paying
Like-
you're paying more money for something that is not going to last you as long in the console generation as the other one, because your game's going to start looking like crap compared to the other side.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm wondering if, like, is this something that could be fixed by a patch later on? I mean,
Well,
can they do
potentially.
that?
I mean, they could patch in like if their CPU is underclocked right now, they could patch in an overclock. They could overclock the GPU, but they've already done that once. They announced specs of both the GPU and the CPU. And I think, if I remember correctly, I think they, with a patch that with a software update that they did prior to the system even getting manufactured, so it's going to actually be on your shipping device. I think your GPU is 23% faster than it was, and your CPU is something like, or maybe it's the GPU is 17 and the CPU is 24, something like that. So it's already a huge increase to, like, the CPU speed that they're already cranking up now. It makes you wonder if they can even crank it up anymore. Maybe there's some issues with their SDK. Maybe their drivers are really crappy. They have to work on getting better drivers out there for people to use. So there's probably there's some other explanations that could be the root problem. That's not just the fact that the system is slower, but holy crap, that is scary. And I really hope that we find out more about this in the coming weeks, not the coming months, because I would hate to buy a system, make a choice, buy the $500 one because I can't afford to buy both of them, but I buy this one, and then you realize that the system is not as good as the one that you could have paid $100 less for. I mean,
True,
can you
yeah.
imagine what the internet's going to look like if that actually comes to light? Oh my god!
It'll be what it looked like when they came out and said, "Here's the Xbox One."
Totally.
But a lot worse, right?
Yeah.
It is strange. Like, at this point, 720p is still fine. It's still a standard resolution for a lot of things that are HD. It's still HD, but in 2 or 3 years' time, 720p will be antiquated completely.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be something that is gone, and that it will just be easier with the amount of displays out there to just go, and the size of them as well too, to just go 1080p standard native resolution and keep it at that. You know, most of the web videos that I do, I will, unless they ask for them, I will do it at 720p, because nobody's computer monitor is, like, 50 inches, right?
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't make any sense. And render wise, you really can't tell the difference anyway when I shoot raw. But, in about a year or so, computers are just going to be connected right to your TV. I'm gonna have to do all that stuff at 1080p, but
Sure.
it's an easy thing for me to do. I just
But
click the next box down, right?
but it's also different for video than it is for video games. Like
Oh,
video,
it's totally different.
you're not dealing with right angles. You're dealing with like round surfaces and
Yeah.
an ultimate like an infinite amount of detail. Where video games, it's straight lines. Like even the curves are just smaller and smaller straight lines. So when you get 720p, if you put a 720p signal on your television and upscale it up with the television, you can definitely tell. If the system itself has a really good hardware scaler, it's going to look less bad, but it's still going to be terrible. And then once like 2K TVs or 4K TVs start coming out, it's going to be like, crap, this looks terrible. Might as well smear Vaseline all over my television.
Yeah, it's gonna look like it's like an N64 game or something,
Yeah,
right?
totally.
I mean, it's just gonna be so askew to what the televisions are supposed to represent.
Here's a couple other quotes from one. This is someone that's in the know. Who posted on NeoGAF. He says that all evidence states that the Xbox One version has been behind since day one. At E3, the word was that it was a three-week port job to get Call of Duty Ghosts running on the PS4 at 90 frames a second, and it took them 4 months to get it running on the Xbox One at 15 frames a second. So I definitely think there's some huge driver issues. Every game shown at E3 was primarily of the PS4 version. It was multi-platform because it looked better. Basically, Infinity Ward has said that the footage shown at E3 for the PS4 was running at 1080. And what is it? Other insiders are saying that 720p for Xbox One is a thing on top of all other issues that they're dealing with at the time. So maybe this is a thing. I don't know. This is scary. I mean, it's not scary to me. I'm not Microsoft. I could care less. But it's just like, holy crap. If this really is something that the system's doing and they haven't disclosed it already, wow, that's going to be a huge blowback on top of the other huge blowbacks that they've already had in the last 6 months. Like, holy crap.
If it's the case that it's like, yeah, with 720p, right, and we're going to upscale on most, but day one when it comes out on launch, patch fixes it, you're fine. That's okay with me. Mm-hmm. If it comes out day one and they're like, by the way, we don't have a patch, we may or may not be working on it, but yeah, it's 720p and they're going to upscale. It's going to be fine for most display. I'm going to be like, that PR answer bullshit. The day it was released and people have already bought it, you sons of bitches.
Yeah.
That is horseshit. And that's got to be false advertising in some way, right? I mean, like,
yeah,
it probably isn't. They probably, if that was the case, I'm sure they planned for that contingency. But like, I would be livid, and that's why I'm not buying one the day it comes out. That's
totally.
why I'm also not buying a PS4 the day it comes out as well too.
Me neither.
Yeah, I can understand the hesitation. Again, it really won't affect you for the first couple of years, but as technology increases and with the way consoles are, they just kind of stay there and lag behind for a half decade or a decade. 2-3 years in, and you're like, man, my TV is really nice, and my Xbox is a real piece of shit.
Yeah.
And that's not going to be a good feeling for anyone who owns one.
No, it's really scary. I mean, hopefully this is something that maybe it's drivers. Maybe the SDK and the drivers are just terrible. They haven't been optimized properly, and that's just on top of everything else that they're working on. That just it got pushed to the end for some unknown, bizarre reason. Like, I don't know why you'd wait to get your drivers solidified for that long. But
yeah,
if that's really a thing, holy crap. I mean, the internet's about to get a lot more fun for people that are just looking in from the outside. It's going to be crazy. Yeah. All right. Anyway, enough of that crazy stuff. Let's move on to some GTA stuff. GTA is good. There is a huge patch coming out soon, and Rockstar, as we alluded to earlier, has basically said that, well, we wanted to release the first 250,000 payment, 250,000 in-game dollar payment to all players of GTA Online this next week. We're going to be waiting until all of the bugs are fixed. On top of that, they also announced that the first patch to GTA Online for content is going to be coming out early November, called the Beach Bum Pack. That's going to add a whole bunch of different clothing to wear and other stuff, and then obviously some more missions and things like that as well.
Yeah, and it's also free. They're also releasing the content creator as well too, which is really cool
Yep.
and something I'm really excited for.
Yep.
Where you can like make your own deathmatch race jobs, all that kind of cool
Yep.
stuff, which would be really really interesting. And there's going to be social club event weekends, which are also really cool. I'm going to uh, EA did this with Mass Effect 3's multiplayer, where if you killed like, 1 million or 2 million Reapers or something in the course of the weekend collectively with everybody online,
Yep.
that you would get like these really awesome like packages, right? Like here's a new weapon, here's a new character. All that stuff was really cool and fun. So I'm excited to do stuff like that. The biggest thing about this notice is the stimulus pack, which everybody's waiting for. They are saying, like you just mentioned, Lloyd, that once the patch comes out, they're going to give us the money. Which actually, now that I say that out loud, sounds really like give us the money, like you owe us, give us the money. But apparently, the patch is going to come out sometime next week. So Monday, Tuesday, hopefully, but probably more like Wednesday or Thursday, and then it's likely the way things are going for Rockstar lately, there will need to be another patch on top of that to fix more bugs.
And they'll roll back from the patches they did earlier, and
Yeah.
it'll be fun.
It's a buggy friggin' game, man. It is. But I'm going to play it after we're done the show because I still like it. And
Yep.
I'm a glutton for punishment.
Cool. All right, moving on. It was announced this week by Sony that the PlayStation 4 will be getting a day one patch. Just like the Wii U got its 1 gig day one patch, the Xbox One is going to have a multi-gig day one patch. But Sony has to, kick a dog when they're down already and says, yeah, we have a day one patch too. That's right. But it's only 300 megs. Which I found really kind of funny. Only 300 meg patch.
Yeah, that's pretty big.
But I mean, it's not 2 gigs and it's not 1 gig, so it is smaller. They do have that right, but it is still a pretty damn big patch.
It's just really mastered compression, like it's in like one zip file down from 3 gigabytes or something.
It does do some really fun things. It enables remote play, so you can remote play on your Vita, second screen on the Vita or your iPad or other tablets once you download the PlayStation app for that device. That's pretty cool. You can record gameplay, you can take screenshots and upload all that stuff with the share button, which apparently doesn't work until you get the day one patch, which is kind of crazy. You can broadcast and spectate gameplay, play as you download, multi-login, party, voice chat, face recognition, voice commands, background music player, online multiplayer, Blu-ray disc and DVD player updates. So all this stuff isn't in the system unless you update it. So that's some pretty core features. So I wonder why. Maybe it's just updates to it. Maybe it's not. This is
actually,
new.
No,
but it says they say this is what's enabled.
Yeah, you need, like, if you want to play it online or do any of this stuff, you need to download this update, which says to me that it's just not there in the console. And maybe what that means is that, like, listen, they built the console, they got it all set here, they're shipping it, and they're like, let's make sure that everything works fine, and then we'll just push out an update, which I'm fine with. Like, it comes out day one.
Totally. What it probably is like most other firmware updates. If there's a firmware update available, it doesn't let you do much of anything. It's like you can't go to the store, you can't go to PlayStation Home, you can't do this, you can't do that. So maybe all this stuff is on the system, and that's why the patch is only 300 megs, because it's downloading just a patch to make things run better, which would make a little more sense for 300 megs. That's pretty small as far as operating systems are, especially when you're putting in like a Blu-ray player and other things. I mean, there's potentially some size there, but yeah, I mean, I'm excited to hear how it comes, but I'm not even getting one at day one. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't care.
The update for this is 300 megabytes. The update for Grand Theft Auto Online last week was 70 megabytes.
Yeah.
It's a very small update for Sony.
Yeah.
That's 300 megabytes.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, the Wii U was a gig on day one, and the talk on the net is that the Xbox One patch is going to be like closer to 3 gigs or 2 gigs than it is going to be to 500 megs, which is again ridiculous at the same time. And the funny thing is that the patch on the Xbox actually turns things off that the system ships with, because it ships with the DRM, the lock your discs to the console type thing. So the patch actually takes all that stuff away, because that's initially what it was going to be launching with. What a weird world we live in, Jeff.
It is very strange.
It is so bizarre.
We've got a patch that disables features.
Yeah.
features again that you don't want.
The features
but
that we were so excited about, that were so ingrained into the DNA of the system. Well, we're turning
said
them off.
emphatically, I'm sorry, we can't just turn them off. But what we can do is turn them off.
Yeah.
So if you want us to turn them off, we can do that.
You
but
know where we said
that's the only we can do.
where we said we couldn't turn them off? We were wrong. We can actually turn them off. So we're going to do that for you. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, ridiculous. All right, moving on. Let's get into some funnier, brighter things. Nintendo announced today that available on October 31st, they're going to have 3DS XL charging cradles available as part of Club Nintendo for 500 coins.
Coins.
Which is weird because Nintendo never pre-announces items that are going to be available. They just kind of show up one day. But it is kind of neat. These charging cradles are in 5 different colors. So you have blue, yellow, red, green, and white. Super, super bright primary colored type things. And it gives me one thing that I've kind of been complaining about, that I don't have a charging cradle for my 3DS XL. So now I can go get one for 500 coins. Now the difference is, or the question is, what color am I going to get? I have a blue 3DS, so I should probably get the blue one, but maybe I could get yellow.
That yellow one looks pretty sweet in the picture.
Yellow looks good with blue, and maybe green looks okay with blue as well.
You sold me your 3DS, or sorry, you sold Carly your 3DS, and we got the charging cradle, and that thing is like a godsend. I mean, it really is
so handy, isn't it?
It's fantastic. It's maybe the best part of owning a 3DS is the charging cradle.
Yeah, you just drop it in.
You drop it in and it friggin' just sits there and charges you. Unplug it or anything. It's fantastic.
It's like when I bought the one for my Vita. I got that charging cradle and it died after 3 months. Like it just stopped working. I don't have a charging cradle for the Vita, but it is like it's such a friggin' like, Western problem. Oh, you got to plug something in to charge it. You lazy prick. But like really, it's one of those things that like you're blissfully lazy about it. You're like, bap. Just charging, it's fine. Like it's fantastic. It really is great. And I guess 500 coins is that's 2 new games, I think. No.
Or is it 200 points a game?
It's like 50 coins a game.
Oh shit! I thought it was 250.
No, and for a system, you get 140 coins for a new system. So yeah, that's a lot. But I have like 1,000 coins waiting, and I still haven't registered my daughter's 3DS XL. So I have another like 160 or 180 or whatever to add on top of that, which I'm going to wait till next June so I can get closer to Elite membership next year. But
I didn't read it in the article, but are they going to be putting them out in stores as well too, so you can buy them with money?
No, Club Nintendo only.
Shit.
Yeah.
That sucks.
And maybe they'll eventually make an appearance, but yeah, they're probably Club Nintendo only.
Bastards.
But yeah, so I'll be ordering myself one on the 31st, and I urge you guys, if you want one, to do it too, because they will sell out really fast. I'm sure they won't even be there on like November 2nd. They will sell out within a few days. I'm almost positive. So do check that out. All right. Last but not least, we have a couple news and notes for the Ouya, which is still kind of amazing that we're still talking about this thing.
You know what? I'm not talking about it, but you own one, so I know that you have a little bit of a vested interest in.
I haven't turned it on in months.
Oh, really?
It's unplugged. It's just sitting there. Yeah, it's sad.
Too bad.
It's sad. Target announced that they nationwide in the U.S. and probably in Canada, but the article doesn't say, they are putting out Ouya kiosks in every single Target store, and they're not just little ones. They're big ass Ouya kiosks with like a screen, the Ouya under glass, and 2 controllers, and then a bunch of the systems and controllers for sale, along with cards for games and money. Really kind of bizarre. I thought the Ouya was going to die a slow, painful death, but it looks like they've come to agreement with at least one huge store in the U.S., and they will be pushing this stuff out.
Cool.
I don't know if it's going to mean anything at the end of the day, but it's a thing.
I wonder how many they have built.
Yeah.
Like they've got to have a warehouse, like at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark, right? Of just friggin' Ouyas for as far as the eye can see, and they're like, oh shit, we made way too many.
I wonder what the sales numbers are. Like, have they sold 1 million? Have they sold?
Have they not released their sales numbers yet?
I haven't seen anything. Maybe they have. But yeah, it's just like, what's going to happen?
I'm going to check right now sales numbers if there's any.
Cool.
Because I'm really interested to see, like, like it came out with, and it was really the Kickstarter, right, that just like absolutely blew up the internet, right? They're like, this is that future of game, and then it came out and everybody's like, that one game is really great.
Yep.
And I can't remember what that one game is. Like
Towerfall.
Towerfall. There you go.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I'll get on to the next story because it's Ouya related. Well, you're looking at it, and it looks like Ouya 2.0 will be shipping sometime next year. So initially, when they were first talking about the system, they said it's going to be kind of like a yearly iteration. It'll be like an iPad. So new hardware will come out pretty much every year or so. It looks like that's exactly what's happening. The thing that's kind of made it a slower process is because they've been replacing controllers from the units that shipped because there was a defect with a lot of the controllers that came right from the factory in boxes. So they've been doing a little bit about that. They've been doing some other things, but they are working on 2.0, or they will at least start major work on it early next year, and it will come out sometime next year. And it will be backwards compatible. So if you buy a game on your Ouya 1, you'll be able to play it on your Ouya 2. If you're a developer and you make a game that runs on Ouya 1, it'll run on Ouya 2. But games that you're specifically targeting the faster processors obviously might not be downwards compatible. But if you're a developer, you'd make sure that your game would run on everything. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel. I don't think I'll be buying another one. So I'm kind of disinterested about anything to do with the Ouya right now.
Yeah, it's too bad. I mean, like, again, it was only $100, so it's not like you were into, or I guess you bought an extra controller, but it's not like you were into it for like $500 or something. So that's okay.
I don't mind that I bought it. At the end of the day, I mean, it was a neat little thing. I have one. I can play games and stuff on it, and and it's a thing. But I don't think I'll ever buy another one to take another $150 hit, basically.
Yeah. I'm looking and I can't find anything like, here's the sales numbers, here's how many we've sold, but NPD has described the opening sales as light, and some stores are reporting, or some sources are reporting that like very few have sold at all, but nobody has concrete numbers, and that is a bad sign.
Yeah. If it was huge sales, they would be the first one out there trumpeting to death. And they sold the 250,000 that they Kickstarted or whatever that number was. I wonder if they've even doubled that number, like selling it out of the channel. It really makes me wonder.
Yeah, like, I feel like the success of Kickstarter sometimes is one of those things where, we've got so much interest in it, but really these are the only people that are interested. And now our entire audience for the product we've already sold to, and we're making a bunch more, and there's nobody else who cares about it.
Yep.
And I think that's a pretty big danger of the whole crowdsource. I still don't like crowdsourcing. I really don't. But it's here to stay. It's here to stay for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. All right, that's gonna about do it for this episode, man.
Good show.
All right. Thanks guys for listening and subscribing to the show. Want to hear from you? Give us an email, vgpodcast@gmail.com. You can call our voicemail line, which is area code 505 VG Podcasts. Or just head on over to vgpodcast.com and you can check out our forums, contact us, or support my Extra Life campaign that I'm doing. Links to that will be in the show notes. Please do check it out for the chance to win some amazing prizes that I already explained at the top of the show. Jeff, thanks again for coming out and doing the show. It was a good one.
Yeah, it was.
And we will talk to all you guys in about a week's time. Take it easy.
The actual episode 50.
Not the 50 that we then renamed 49.
Yeah,
the
not
50
the fake
that
50.
is really 50.
The real episode 50.
We should maybe plan something for it, like
getting
the name right.
Yeah,
that
it's
would be a
already
good start.
It's way too overhyped now. We should just skip to 51.
Yeah, I think that's what we'll do. We'll skip a week and say that the recording got trashed, and then we'll come up with 51. That sounds good. All right, guys, take it easy. We'll talk to you in a week's time. Later.
Let's get started.